Elizabeth Warren has dropped out of the race. She hasn't endorsed anyone. And the question is, will she? And who would that person be? Hey, everybody. I'm Chad Hasty, host of the Chad Hasty Show, which airs weekday mornings, 8:30 to 11 a.m. Central Time on News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 a.m. KFYO. There are three candidates left for the Democrats in the presidential nomination. You have Joe Biden, you have Bernie Sanders, and yeah, somehow Tulsi Gabbard is still just kind of hanging out. I guess if you're not really raising money or doing much, why not keep running for president if you're Tulsi Gabbard? She's really a non-factor in all of this. Elizabeth Warren, the latest to announce that she is dropping out of the presidential race after, kind of a promising start for a Warren. She dropped the ball. She became unlikable. She kind of flipped on a couple of positions, and she was never able to regain any momentum, which, surprised a lot of folks because Elizabeth Warren was having a really good time running a very good campaign, actually. And then she attacked Bernie Sanders, and then she kind of flipped on a few of her core positions, and it never worked out for Warren. She, of course, blamed misogyny. Nancy Pelosi blaming misogyny or at least saying that it had a role in Warren's demise on the presidential campaign trail. Let's be honest, Elizabeth Warren just wasn't that likable. Elizabeth Warren, when she would explain things and talk about things, it always seemed like she was kind of talking down to everybody and that she was smarter than everybody else. She also had a plan for everything, but didn't really have a plan to pay for a lot of things. And she could never really capture any of the Bernie magic that Bernie Sanders, even himself, doesn't really seem to have right now among young people and among the groups that she needed to get. So she's out, she's done. And the question is, will she endorse anybody in this race? Listen, there is a thought out there, and I talked about this on the show on Thursday, that Elizabeth Warren may not endorse anybody. Or if she does, she may actually endorse Joe Biden in hopes to get the vice presidential nod. What better way to unify the party than to have Joe Biden at the top of the ticket and a progressive socialist at the VP side of things? It's something that I'm sure maybe the Biden camp is thinking about. The Warren camp might be thinking about it as well. And if the Warren camp thinks that this is all done for Bernie Sanders, she may just not be willing to go down with the ship, the progressive socialist ship, and instead try to get on with Joe Biden. I don't think you'll see an announcement anytime soon from Elizabeth Warren. I think both Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden will try to woo her and woo her supporters, but it's not that clear cut actually where her support will go. There's been some people who take a look at Elizabeth Warren's base, and it's a fractured base. Some of them will go towards Joe Biden. Some of them will naturally go towards Bernie Sanders. So does this really change things in terms of the race? A little bit, but not too much. Bernie Sanders has to win Michigan. That's what everyone is saying, that Bernie Sanders either has to win Michigan or has to do really well in Michigan. And then here in a couple of weeks, he's got Florida, and he's not doing too well right now in Florida. Things aren't looking good for Bernie Sanders, but there's still a little bit of hope for the socialist to win the nomination. I think Republicans would love to have Bernie Sanders win the nomination, but I think if you're President Trump, you have to like your chances against Bernie Sanders, and you have to like your chances against Joe Biden as well. Joe Biden was a horrible candidate a week ago. Guess what? He's still a horrible candidate today. Just because he won South Carolina, just because he did well in the South, doesn't mean that he's going to be a great candidate for the Democrats. He was a horrible candidate a week ago, and nothing has changed except he's gotten a little bit older. Tune in to the Chad Hasty Show weekday mornings, 8:30 to 11 a.m. Central Time on News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 a.m. KFYO. Enjoy your weekend. Tomorrow on the afternoon brief, I'm going to be talking about springing forward. That's right, it's the dreaded time change once again.